Hi guys, I'm out testing at another school today, so you are going to work on our assignment on your own, just listening to the lesson on this video. So please do the best you can and pay attention, stop it and pause, go back, whatever you need to do. So today we're going to talk about traits. And this isn't something new. We've talked about traits a little bit already before when we talked about characterization and watched the movie Bounden. Traits describe or tell about a character, and when we talk about traits, we always use text evidence to explain why we think that a character has that trait. When we talk about traits, there are two different kinds of traits that we talk about. We have physical traits and character traits. Authors tell us traits in two ways. First way is direct, where they just tell you exactly what the trait is. Or it can be indirect, where the author gives you clues and you figure out what the trait is. Again, this is exactly what we did when we did the Steele chart with Bounden. Physical traits describe what a character looks like on the outside, so what they look like, or their role or position or status. So it could be hair color, it could be what their face looks like, it could be what their job is. Those are all examples of physical traits. Go ahead and open your notebook to your character traits page and write these definitions on the front of your foldable. The first one is character traits. We'll talk about those in a minute. And then the second one is physical traits. Make sure you have both definitions. Let's look at an example of physical traits. I've invited a friend, and let's look at him and describe what he looks like on the outside, or what his role, position, or status is. So let's describe the physical traits of our friend. He's male, or a boy. He's short. He's skinny. He has short hair, he's brunette or has brown hair, and he's a sixth grader. Those are different physical traits. Character traits describe how a character is on the inside, their personality or their belief system, basically what kind of a person they are. In your notebook, you have a list of different character traits. Some characters can be caring. Some characters can be thoughtful. A character trait can be impatient, or it can be loud. Let's look at Rachel from the story 11. I could say that Rachel is uncertain. That is her character trait. The text evidence that I have is from page 1, where it says, I'd have known what to say when Mrs. Price put the sweater on my desk. When Rachel says that she doesn't know what to say, that tells me that she is uncertain. That's a character trait I can use to describe Rachel. In your notebook, go ahead and write down my example of a character trait for Rachel. Then, read the story 11 and find your own example of a character trait for Rachel. Make sure that you write down the character trait and the text evidence. Now let's do the same thing for Mrs. Price. Let's figure out a character trait to describe her. I would use the word impatient as a good character trait to describe her. My text evidence to support my thinking is when she says on page 2, she says it like she's getting mad. Mrs. Price doesn't want to listen to Rachel explain that it's not her sweater, and she's getting mad because Rachel is wasting time. That definitely describes her being impatient. In your notebooks, do the same thing for Mrs. Price that you did for Rachel. Write down my example, then look back in the story 11 to find your own example of a character trait to describe Mrs. Price and write it in your notebook. Alright guys, that's the end of the lesson for today. You should have in your notebooks, you should have the definitions of a character trait and a physical trait written, and you should have examples of character traits with text evidence for Rachel and Mrs. Price. Once you have all of those things completed, you can go ahead and turn your notebook in by my printer and work on homework or play games quietly. Some of you have a test in Mrs. Mills' class that you might want to study for, and I will see you guys tomorrow.